Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of Down the Hobbit Hole. This is Wednesday, April 5th, 2017, and my name is Emily, and this is my weekly podcast about knitting, spinning, and all things making. So I just wanted to take a second and just thank everyone who's subscribed and who's been watching. I really appreciate it, and to everyone who's been posting in the Ravelry group, thank you so much. And for anyone who's here for the first time, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you like it. We do have a Ravelry group. You can find us in the Groups tab on Ravelry and just search for Down the Hobbit Hole. Or you can click the link down below. And you can follow me on Instagram as MistyMountMakers. I am MistyMountMakers on Ravelry. And I'd also like to say, I'm all over the place today. I'd also like to say thank you to Tanya of the Hooked on Ink Blobs podcast here on YouTube. She mentioned me in her mini episode about podcasts that she's watching right now. And so, thank you. Hello, Tanya. And she has been dyeing yarn with ink. Like pen ink, and it seems to have a really cool effect on the yarn, and I'm really curious to see how that turns out and how that lasts on the fiber, because it looks really neat. But so yes, thank you again. And then this week I did get some progress done on just about all of my projects, even though we got our chickens this week. We got the first batch. I got a call from the hatchery and they said that the other batch would be coming next week because they had a little hiccup with the system, so no problem. You shouldn't be able to hear any of the chicks peeping away because they're in the other room. If you can, I'm sorry, I can't hear it, so if you can, you've got some phenomenal ears. But I will be bringing them out in the not-so-nitty portion of the podcast later, so you guys can kind of see them and enjoy their cuteness. But yes, on to knitting. Alright, so you guys have seen this one before. This is my Mama Vertebrae. And the ribbing has begun. I'm doing the ribbing in US size 5s on my Knitter's Pride interchangeables. And the body was knit in... Hello, Tiber. Ugh. There we go. Tiberius has come by to say hello. The body was knit in US size 6, and I really like the Knitter's Prides because even though they're made of wood and they've got some grip, they still slide well. Like the knitting moves off it, the join's really smooth. Everything's just really good quality for those. And I'll be coming back to that on another project I'll be talking about. But so far it's going really well. I kind of wish I hadn't chosen to do the twisted rib. I love the look of it. The look is great. But on the wrong side, when you have to twist the purl stitches, it takes so much longer than twisting a knit stitch. Or at least it feels clumsier. My hands feel clumsier. So there are a lot of stitches in the ribbing. So I kind of wish I hadn't done that, but the look is going to be so nice that it's definitely worth it. And oh, Tiber. And this is what that twisted rib will look like. That's the bottom edge. And the sleeves will end the same way as well. So I got everything picked up, which feels really good. I've started the knitting on it. Started knitting it, and I'm hoping that I'll have the ribbing in the front done by next week. We have a freeze coming in. It's looking like it could be a freeze, so I shouldn't be doing much gardening, so I should have much more time to knit this week. So that's that. This is Mama Vertebrae. You can find it on Ravelry. It's only about $4. Pattern is definitely worth it, and you can find more information about it and a link to the pattern in the show notes. That's not working. There we go. Oh. And I am recording a little later in the day today because I thought I was going to be going to the post office to get my chicks, and the call never came. But once the hatchery called, I kind of gave up on that. So I do have a slightly different drink today. It is Kool-Aid, and this is the dark cherry version, which is really good. I discovered some packets I'd set aside to try out some Kool-Aid dyeing because I hadn't done it before, and I decided to drink them instead. So, I feel like the only thing that's getting dyed is, like, I've got little devil's horns sometimes because when you're drinking you just get that little bit that goes off your lips. Not a very attractive look, but I can kind of sympathize with little kids now. The other project that I've been working on is, it's my Hermione's Everyday Socks. And I got almost an inch finished. Oh, I'm really bad at this. Got almost an inch finished, and the stitch marker is where I was last week. Sorry for all the dirt under my nails. I was planting potatoes earlier today, so clearly I didn't get all of that out. But I'm loving how this color's turning out, and I'm making some pretty steady progress. So I've got about 2.5 inches before I start the toe. So I'm hoping to get about 2 inches done before next week, which I think I'll have the time to do since I'm going to have so much downtime this week in the evenings. Typically in the evenings I would go out and dig some holes, try to get plants out there. That's what I was going to do this week, was get plants outside, but that is no longer going to happen. Actually. Now the one item that didn't get any love this week would be my boot socks, which I made tons of work on last week. But the problem is, and this is where I left off from last week. The problem is I moved them onto these Likey needles, and they're very nice, they're very pretty, they're birch, and they're supposed to look like driftwood, and I think they're called Likey driftwood. They're very sticky, and not like tacky or anything, but when you're knitting with them, this does not slide easily. It feels like I'm knitting through molasses, and I need some metal needles for this, or maybe using size 4s. If I can find my Hiya-Hiyas, my size 4 Hiya-Hiyas, those would probably work just fine. But I feel like this is just really, really sticky and not going very quickly. I love the needles, the cable's nice, and they're really pretty. Let's see. It's just, this isn't the right project for them. So I'm still going to keep them, I'm still going to use them, just not for this. And now you guys saw this last week as well, and I had only done the first layer on the bobbin, and this, there we go. This is the yarn I'm spinning. I want to make sock yarn out of it. It's Michael's Loops and Thread yarn. It's the super bulky that's 50% wool, 50% acrylic. So I'm spinning it up. I've unplied it, and I'm spinning it kind of like pencil roving. So I'm going to get this bobbin as full as possible, and then I am going to try plying it. I think I'm going to do a 3-ply, just a Navajo ply. And that's where you're using, instead of plying 3 singles together, you're using 1 single and kind of chain stitching it to become a 3-ply. With socks, that's not necessarily ideal, because from what I've read, once it gives way, it kind of gives way completely. You don't have those two other threads, two other separate plies kind of keeping things together, but I'm not too worried about it, honestly. I think this is just kind of a fun experiment, and if it goes horribly wrong, I'll get over it. And the last thing that I'm working on right now are Tim's socks. So I finally got them cast on, and here's the yarn. And it's covered in fluff, but this would be Malabrigo sock in the Agua colorway. And here is how it's turning out. And it's very pretty. It's lots of gray blues and greeny gray blues. And I didn't pick the best time to cast these on because I was at a friend's house. We had gone over to play Cards Against Humanity, and there was a group of us there, and I tend to sit out Cards Against Humanity. I love the game, but I tend to sit back and just watch and enjoy it, and knit whenever we have parties like that. I don't know. I get a bit stressed trying to choose my cards, and it's a much more relaxed evening for me if I just knit. But the problem is, Cards Against Humanity is a lot of fun, and it's very distracting, and I had to keep fudging my stitches because I was supposed to be increasing every other row, and here and there I'd forget, or I'd suddenly have too many stitches, and so I had to keep counting and figuring out what row I'm on. So, not the best time to cast it on, but I finished all of the increases, and now it's just stockinette for a while. And I feel like I do need to replace these needles, because these are my Knitter's Prides, and the stitches tend to get caught right there on the end. The join is just not very good. So I think partway through this, I'm going to go ahead and get new needles for it so that I can not get frustrated and throw them out a window or something. I did get, speaking of getting things from the local yarn shop, Christy, she is the owner of Hook and Needle, which is our local yarn shop. She ordered the large sock blockers for me for Tim's socks, and I was really excited. I love them. They are great. But Tim's got some big feet. So there's the end of the blocker. But it does the job. They don't fall off, so it'll work for now. But if anybody else has a husband with size 13 feet, let me know where you got your sock blockers. If you have sock blockers for that, I think these will be fine. I didn't realize they weren't going to fit. And I got them home. I'm still going to use them. It's not like I want to return them or anything. But I was teasing Tim a little bit about it. Just because nothing fits. And then I don't have anything that's needle adjacent. I've got too many things going right now anyways. I need to kind of slow down on the casting on and kind of pick up the pace on the knitting, especially since we've got the festival coming up. I want to be able to have these things done so I can wear them and if there's a festival coming up, you have to have something ready for it. So I want to get my cardigan done soon. And I think that's all we have for what I'm working on, what's coming up. I do have items for tomorrow's shop update to share with you guys, and I have some stuff to talk to you in the not so nitty section. So if you're just here for the projects I'm working on, no problem. I will see you guys hopefully next week. And don't forget to go to the Ravelry group and post in the episode thread, just showing me what you're working on while you're watching or what you're working on this week. I'd love to see it. And thank you so much for stopping by. And for everyone else, here comes the shop update. Alright, now we're all set up for the shop update. So, I have a basket o' yarn. And the first colorway is one that I've had before. This is Inferi. And those are the zombies from Harry Potter. There we go. And it's blues with blacks and grays, kind of a mauve color and bright purple. And I have that on the Elven base, which is 75% superwash merino, 15% nylon, and 10% tencel. And then I have it also on the halfling base, and this is 75% Corriedale, 75% superwash Corriedale wool, and 25% nylon. I can't speak today. So same colorway, just different base. I also have Candyland. Here we go. And I have 4 of these. And this is Candyland, and it's bright blues, pinks, and purples. And they're all kind of overlapped. So it just makes a really bright, fun, variegated yarn. And that is on, I think I already said it, but that's on our Elven base. I have 4 of those. And I have 4 of the Inferi on Halfling and 4 on Elven. And then I played a little bit with some other colors. Just, the first one is largely due to my peach tree. So here's this one. And this is on the Halfling base. And it's browns and peachy tones and green, with just a little here and there. There are little bits of like a bluish gray. They're very faint, and they kind of come in here and there. But I really like this. And the tree has essentially gone to just being leaves now. Most of the blooms have fallen away, but it's still really pretty. I still really like it. And you may not be able to see it very well, but there's lots of light peach worked throughout and still some sections of white. So I think it's going to be a really nice looking yarn once it's knit up. And here's kind of an example of where that grayish color comes in, those little flecks. So I really like the effect. There we go. And I have that on Elven as well. And I've got 2 of each. There we go. And then the other 4 that I made, I have 2 of these on Halfling and 2 of them on Elven. So here's this. And it's a really pale blue with that same peachy color with blue speckles worked throughout. Let's see. And they even have a couple little spots of green in there, and there are those speckles. There we go. So we've got 2 on Elven. No, sorry, 2 on Halfling. There's the Halfling. And 2 on Elven. And there we go. And those are the yarns that we have for the update. Oh, we also have, there's one more. Where did I put it? This is actually one that was supposed to be up last week, but I completely forgot to skein it up. And now it has vanished forever. The skein that I'm looking for, anyways, is this is the Nargles colorway that I dyed yesterday, and I had a 50 gram. I kept 2 ounces, not 50 grams. I kept 2 ounces of one of the skeins in order to have a look at it, knit it up, and kind of see how I feel about it. And really, the more I look at it, the more I love it. I think it's a really great sock yarn, and I can't wait to knit up my sample. Found it. Here we go. I love the way this looks reskeined. And this is the 2 ounce skein of Nargles, and it's so pretty. I really like it. I don't know why I wasn't sure about this in the first place, but kind of in love with it now. And I can't wait to make myself a little pair of socks. I want to see how it knits up, and I want to be able to show a picture of what it's going to look like in with the listings, because I'm sure this is coming back. And yeah, I may have some mini skeins available as well, just solids of those colors. I won't have those available this update, but I will have them available next update. So that'll be next week. Keep an eye out for that. And I have also been busy with bats. So this one, actually these first 2 were in last week's update, but I didn't show them on the podcast. So this is Beyond the Wall, and it's blues, grays, and whites. We have lots of flecks, and it is Corriedale with, there we go, it's Corriedale with bamboo, silk noils, superwash merino, and tencel. And you can find, so pretty, you can find more information about it in the listing. And I have 2 of these. And I also have 2 of this one. And this one's the Black Knight. There we go. From Monty Python. And it's all merino, bamboo, and firestar. And it's shades of maroon and just bright fire engine red, black and gray. And it's all blended together, and it's blended just the once, so you've still got those bold spots throughout where you've got just that bright, sharp red. So that'll be really fun spun up. And there's 2 of these. This one's Poppies, and it's inspired by a painting by Monet. and it is, oh, it's so pretty. And it is very green on the bottom with some tannish, mustardy undertones. So I don't know, it from here, because I have my phone set up on a tripod, and then I've got my TV. I'm using my Chromecast to cast the screen so I can see if things are going in focus over here. And it's coming out rather tan with a touch of green, but it's kind of the reverse. So once I get into editing, it might look perfect, but you'll be able to see on the listing. The colors will be accurate there. I have two of this one. And lots of bright fall colors. And it's just browns and golds, and it's gorgeous. These are the kind of bats. I love these colors. There we go. And it's got silk noils, it's got all different kinds of wools, lots of bamboo, lots of fire star. So it's going to make a really nice yarn. And this one's similar, but not the same. The proportions are a little different, and this one has a little more tan in the middle. But this one also has silk noils. The fiber content is pretty much the same between the two. It's just the amounts of what was used, or the amounts of the colors used. So this one has more of the yellow in the wool and more tan. You can see it there. So pretty. I have two of those. And then I have four. This is the last one. I have four of these. And this is undyed BFL. I know a lot of people have been using BFL sock yarn. And this is that same fiber, Blue Face Leicester. And I have it mixed with some recycled sari silk. So you're going to get a tweed look from it. And it's kind of washing out a little bit, but it's all undyed, but there's the like light brownish tan, and white, it's kind of an oatmeal color. So you're going to get like a really natural colored yarn with a tweedy effect from all of the silk noils that are in it, and it's going to be gorgeous. And I have four of these that'll be available. So it's just BFL with sari silk, no sparkles, nothing else. It's going to be a really subtle yet gorgeous yarn. Or felted piece. I mean, you could definitely felt that, since it's over 95% wool. I don't know the exact proportions of anything that I put in, because even if I weigh everything ahead of time, which is what I used to do, I tend to, as I'm carding, I'll see something that I want, or I'll feel like the bat's missing something, and I'll run and I'll grab stuff and start throwing it in. At that point, there's no way to know. So, and sometimes I don't use everything that I've put on, because the drum carder, depending on the fibers that you're putting on, the drum carder can only handle so much. Like if I use really thin, smooth, fine fibers, I could probably get 10 ounces onto my drum carder. But if I'm using something that's puffier, like this has a lot of Corriedale in it. So this bat, I would probably get more like 7 ounces before the drum carder's full and just kind of can't take any more. So that's why you may not see any proportions or any percentages on the listings. But those will be up tomorrow. That's going to be Thursday, April the 6th at 6 p.m. Eastern. So definitely take a look. And now on to not so nitty content. And if you'll bear with me just a second, I'm going to go get some co-hosts. I'll be right back. Okay, so, chicks. Now. Go lay down. Good boy. Stay. Tesla has been out of his mind. I thought the cat was going to be the problem. The cat really doesn't care anymore, and there's actually a reason for that. I'll get to it in a bit. But look at him. I think this one's my favorite. He's so cute. He's got a little V on his forehead, and they chirp like they're dying. They're totally fine. There you go. Up and down. That one's a little character. She. These are all females, or they should be. And that one will run up to the side of the plastic tub and just like peck at the wall. It's really cute. He loves to watch fingers go by. Shush. There we go. They're so cute. So most of mine, Tiber. The cat's coming to investigate. And I mean, look at him. He belongs on top of a hat, like a little pom-pom. He's just so beautiful. All right. I think I'm going to run these guys back in just a minute because they do not like this, but here's this little guy. More of your typical chick. And look at his fuzzy little legs. Oh my goodness. Yes, I know. You're so upset. You're so upset you don't even want to leave my hand. Okay. Let me go put them away. Oh my gosh. And I'll be right back. And wash my hands. Because you should always wash your hands after handling chicks. Okay, so yes, those are our layers. They're different breeds, and in fact, 6 of the birds that I have, because I have 15 in there total, 6 of them are being brooded for a friend, since I was only getting so many birds, and there's plenty of space to toss in a couple, so I agreed to do that for them. And they're so cute. Oh my gosh, they just peep and cheep, and they'll pop about inside the brooder, and then all of a sudden one of them will stretch out its wing and its leg and fall down. And I don't know why. But you see them slowly relax as their eyes close, and then they fall asleep. And then within a few seconds, another one like jumps on them and runs around, and they pop back up. So they just collapse into like a 30-second power nap and then get up and run around. And it's really cute, but it's the weirdest thing. And they're so clumsy. And then all of a sudden, one will just run from one end to the other and just like bop its little beak into the wall. And I know they can see the wall. They know it's there. And the bedding is shredded paper, and it's kind of rising up on the edges. So they know where the edge is. They walk up to it all the time and stop. But I don't know. They're just crazy. They're only about 2 days old now. 3. They're 3 days old. And it's really cool because chicks can survive for I think about a day or 2 after hatching without food or water, because the hen stays on the eggs until after, I may have explained this last time, but the hen stays on the nest and gives it a day or 2 to make sure all the eggs that are going to hatch have hatched before going out to get food and water and taking the chicks out to become chickens. So that's why they're able to ship them to you. And honestly, I was really excited, and I had so much fun going through the catalog and choosing my breeds, because I chose funny breeds. But I should have just, well, the way that I did it, I was able to get 2 of each breed that I wanted. And then they throw in an extra bird if you agree to try to take any extra food to people in need. So I'm trying to find a shelter in my area that will accept that, or I think I know some people who they would appreciate getting the eggs. So we'll definitely find a home for any extras that we have. But if I had gone to like Tractor Supply or our local co-op, I would have been required to buy at least 6 chicks, and they don't always have all the different breeds because I wanted to buy for pretty egg color. And I know that's silly, but I want turquoise and green and like creamy colored. I did get a chick that lays white eggs, and it's a speckled Sussex. And I heard they're just funny birds, and that's why I got them, because they've got a lot of personality, and I really wanted them to just be entertaining. And they're supposed to be good layers too, so there's that. Our meat birds were supposed to show up today, but I got a call from the hatchery, and their system had there was a hiccup, and they don't actually hatch them or ship them on Tuesdays. So I'm getting them next week. They've worked me into where I'll still get my 15 meat birds, and I'm really excited. They're so adorable, and they're so puffy, and you can see these teeny tiny little wings coming, or not wings, feathers coming out on their wings. And when I first got them, I pulled them out of the box and showed them one by one to Tesla, who is our Australian Shepherd, and to Tiberius, who's our cat. And Tiberius was definitely going into predator mode until I kind of gave him permission to come over and look, and then he relaxed. Because I feel like with him, if he's denied access to something, if you don't let him sniff it, then he is constantly trying to stealthily run in and get in there. And I didn't want him to like attack the brooder. I don't think he's not that big of a cat. I don't think he could have done any damage, but he probably would have scared them. So I called him over, and he's been really good. He was lingering in the kitchen and staring at the dishwasher, and the only other time he did that was back in November when we moved in, and there was a mouse. And I have no problem with mice. I just don't want them living in my house, and I don't want them, like, I've had them as pets. I've had rats as pets, and rats are definitely better than mice as pets because they're smarter and they're much more affectionate. But yeah, there's another mouse in the house, and considering it's been a while, I'm not it's been a while, and Tiber caught that first one. We haven't seen anything since. I get nervous for my wool because I don't want them nibbling at my wool. I don't want them like getting into one of my fleeces. So I'm really glad the cat is on it. He crouched there all day. I think he started at about 1 or 2. And then in the middle of the night, I heard him just wreaking havoc all over the house. And I was half asleep. I didn't know what was going on. And of course, he had found it, and he was chasing it. And he won't just kill it. He is a cat. He plays with it and runs it around the house. And I don't think he ever caught it last night, because he's still upset this morning. And typically, we try to catch the mouse because we don't want him to get toxoplasmosis, which he can get from eating a mouse. But I was just so tired, and it was taking so long for him to catch it that I just wound up going to bed. So hopefully he'll take care of that soon. But Tesla, he is the best yes, you come here. He's the best behaved dog, and he's very calm. Sorry for the earthquake. Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh. Here. Tesla. Oh. Come. And I said last week when I introduced him that he was very well behaved for an Australian Shepherd, but that's not quite right. He's very calm for an Australian Shepherd, because Australian Shepherds are very trainable. They're very good dogs, and he's just very laid back. So usually they're really high strung, but not our pup. But he cannot calm down with the chicks in the living room. I had to put them in the other room and close the door because he wants to pin them all down, make them stop moving, and take care of them. It's like a mothering instinct, and it's the herding instinct. He wants them all to just stay put. He wants to know where they are, and that's it. And so at one point, I had him on the couch watching the chicks, because he's never been aggressive, and it wasn't an aggressive move, but one of them ran away from him. They were all coming up and pecking at the plastic where they could see him, and one of them ran away from him, cheeping, and it had been there for a while, so it wasn't scared of him or anything. It was just being a crazy chicken, and he moved forward to try and stop it. So he wasn't snapping, he just kind of bumped the brooder with his nose, but he almost knocked it off the table, and he was just panting and drooling and freaking out. So Tesla has to stay separate. Once they're full chickens, they're just gonna peck him and beat him up, and he's gonna be so sad. But while they're chicks, he needs to stay separate. Tesla, up. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. Tesla started overheating pretty much immediately. He really needs a shave to cut down on some of that fur, but especially now that it's getting hot. But the only other thing we've been up to is Tim's got me running, and he's running with me, but I'm not much of a runner, pretty uncoordinated, and I say running, really we're just kind of jogging, and then I'm walking and panting horribly. He says the first thing we have to do is work on my breathing, which I am getting better. I'm actually really happy. We haven't been running that long. It's just been a few weeks. And I feel like I can already see improvement, which is a lot of fun. But one thing I was thinking about starting is there's a website, and you can Google it and you'll find it, and I'll have links to it as well. But it's called the AON Challenge, and the name is a little strange only because it's a website where they've worked out the mileage, like the number of miles to Mordor and back, tracing the routes that I think they stick with Frodo. Yeah, because Frodo and Sam are the only ones who went into Mordor proper to destroy the ring, but for the first, I think it's about 250 miles, you can actually go in and they have a little drop-down bar, and it says you're basically finding out where you are, and it's in increments of 5. And unfortunately, that only goes as far as Weathertop, but you can still use the rest of the website to track where you're going. And I think it's like 458 miles from Bag End to Rivendell. So, that's a lot of miles, but I don't know, I think it'd be fun, and I'm not gonna start tracking it now, even though we're running twice a week. I was thinking about starting it in May, possibly June, but what I'd like to see is if there's any interest, because what I wanted to do, and this is to help keep me motivated with my running, but I know there are a lot of fans of Lord of the Rings out there, and as much as I absolutely love Harry Potter, there aren't a lot of things out there, and I'm in a Harry Potter knit-along. I'm taking part in Katie's for Inside Number 23. Her podcast has a Ravelry group, and they're doing a year-long Harry Potter knit-along. So I love Harry Potter, but you don't see, and we talked about this in the group, in the Down the Hobbit Hole Ravelry group. We've talked about the fact that, there's not as much out there for Lord of the Rings, and I think it'd be fun to have like maybe a 3-month knit and run along and see how far we can get into Middle-earth. And I think it'd be fun. And you don't have to, if you're interested, let me know. I'll make a thread in the Ravelry group to see how many people are interested. And it would start in either May or June. And it would just be, maybe we'll set a location, or maybe we'll just see how far we can go on the journey. And because overall, I want to see how long it'll take me to make it there and back again. But I have a Fitbit that I'll be tracking it on, but you don't have to have anything like that. I think my husband has an app on his phone, and I'll ask him what it is. But when we run, you can actually see, it uses GPS, I think, and it shows the route that we took and each lap, and it says how long you've been going. So you can always use something like that. On your phone, you can use Google Maps to just kind of, like if you have breaks at work and you go out and walk around the building or something. I know I used to work in a call center, which was awful, but that's what a lot of us did on our breaks because you're sitting all day. So you get up and walk around the building. So you can find out how many laps make a mile around your building or around the parking lot or wherever you're walking, and just keep track of that. And then you can kind of play along, see where you are. If you want to just knit some Lord of the Rings socks or make like a sweater, there are tons of patterns out there and they're gorgeous. And we could just do a knit and run along. So let me know if you're interested. If we have enough people participating, I definitely want to, have prizes, have a chatter thread and have everybody kind of talking and having fun and keeping each other motivated. So let me know. I think it'll be great. And the reason it's called the AON Challenge is it was originally, I think this is back in 2003. And like I said, the website's a bit old. But it was a bunch of women who wanted to take control of their health and their weight and just take control of their lives a little more. So that's why it's the AON Challenge, because it was something that a bunch of women were doing together. So I think that's cool, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. Not that it's not open to guys as well. Feel free. Everyone's welcome. But yeah, I think that's the only other thing we've really got going on. Not a lot of planting right now because we have a freeze coming on, it's only going to be 34 degrees on Friday, but the weather can always change and it may end up going colder or it may end up dropping for longer, so I don't want to risk putting out anything that I really like. I think I'm still going to put out the potatoes because you can put those out well before the frost date, but we'll see. So I should get lots of knitting done before next week and should have lots of things to show you. And just head over to the Ravelry group. Let me know if you're interested in that knit along. You can tell me or knit and run along. I'll have to come up with a better name for it than that if we do it. But let me know in the episode 4 thread if you're interested and show me what you're working on. I'd really like to see it. But I think that's about all for this week. So you can find me on Instagram as MistyMountMakers. You can find me on Ravelry as MistyMountMakers. And you can find all of our yarn and spinning fiber at MistyMountainMakers.com. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Happy making, and thank you so much for joining me today. Look at the fluffs. They're so cute.